I'm here today to start off and ask one simple question, and the question is, can we fly? Now you're probably thinking that I'm a little ridiculous, because of course we can fly. We fly all the time. We go to Chicago, Atlanta, we travel all over the place. But if we were looking at this question in the 1800s or earlier on, you would say, no, we can't fly. It's impossible. In 1903, the Wright brothers had an idea that we could fly if we set our mind to it. So what they did was they did several test runs, they did several different things, and they weren't flying in the sense that we think of today, but their planes got off the ground for a little bit, and sure, they couldn't do any fancy maneuvers or stay in the air for more than half a minute, but they flew. And that ignited the spark in their entrepreneurial spirit. And they kept working at it. They refined their craft, they made it better, they built a stronger engine, and they kept going with it. They kept executing, taking the information they had from their first attempts that weren't successful, and used that to move forward, and eventually they took that faithful fly in Kitty Hawk, which is historical, where they were in the air for over half an hour, doing all sorts of figure eights and crazy things, and taking passengers for flights. And then we knew that men and women could fly. But at first we didn't think that we could do that. A little over 100 years later, we're now at a different time. And a group of 3 entrepreneurs had the idea that we could bridge the lines between the physical and the virtual with these devices that we use every day, these smartphones. So our idea was that we could take content and have it be readily available on these phones that we have on us all the time. We don't have to search for information, we don't have to do things, we can just interact with everyday objects around us with these mobile devices. And that was our idea. And we worked on it over the last 3 years, and we've refined our products and refined our services. And about 2.5 years ago, we participated in an event for the greatest ideas. And there was all sorts of startup companies that had ideas, maybe not executed them yet, but were getting things going. We participated in this event. And while we were there, we were told by the judges that the technology we were building was going to quickly become irrelevant, and that it would never take off, and it would never be anything, and that we wouldn't be able to take flight. What's interesting about that is the products that they told us were going to hinder our growth actually required our product to work. So it played to our favor, and we were able to really move forward. An interesting quote that I find very good to follow is Confucius said, "A man who says something cannot be done should not try to interrupt one that's trying to do it." And I think a lot of times we get stuck on the, we can't do this, or this will never be X, and and we just get stuck in that mindset where we're not trying and we're not moving forward. I'm sure a lot of people told the Wright brothers that they were crazy to think that they could fly and that it would never work and people would never go for it. But we got to push forward. Now, the company I was talking about, of course, is Purple Deck Media, and my partners, James Salfair, Dan Shope, and myself. I'm Nathan Neal, COO, and I'm not really here today to talk to you much about our technology, because what I really want to talk about is the entrepreneurial spirit and the passion that it takes to move forward and to help, just launch your business and launch yourselves to be passionate and creative, because that can apply to no matter what you're doing as you move forward in life. So, just to kind of give a background on what we do, we thought that creating mobile applications shouldn't be something that takes 6 months to a year or more to do, and we started by creating a product called Mobile Deck that allows users to use building blocks to make an application for their business or themselves if they wanted it. And it really streamlines the process and breaks down the barriers that would prevent nonprofits, small organizations, and businesses from getting mobile apps that didn't have $20,000 plus budgets. The other thing we did was we tied in with near-field communication. And a lot of people don't know what NFC is. How many are familiar with the QR code? You scan it, it's a pain, after an hour, it finally clicks and you go to the website or whatever. What we've done at Purple Deck Media is by using NFC, we've made it very simple. So I would take my smartphone and say I'm looking at an automobile, or I'm at Orstown Bank or one of the clients of ProArts, and they have one of these little stickers there, and I tap my phone on it, and then I get an interactive video shot by ProArts that explains the brand. Or I tap to the vehicle of the car, and it shows a commercial about the safety features and the thing that vehicle has. Or it might go out to a survey and ask for my thoughts. It doesn't require an application. It just works natively on the phone. And that's what Purple Deck's about, is about blurring the lines between the physical and the virtual so that we can interact with the things around us. But we're not going to get too technical here. We're going to focus on the rules of entrepreneurship that I've put together here that can apply even if you're not an entrepreneur, just to daily life. And the first rule is to be passionate and find passionate people. There's a lot of passionate people in this room, and I know because I click very well with all of them. You know when you're talking to somebody that's very passionate about their topic, that they're so into it and they want to learn more about what they're interested in, and they build on those passions. My wife is passionate about football. I don't get it, but I can tell from her tone that she's excited about it, that she's into it, and she's passionate about it. We know these passionate speakers, and we know these people that are passionate about what they're doing. I can tell ProArts is passionate about the video production, and Tracy Jones that spoke earlier is passionate about business leadership and moving ourselves forward. And the list goes on and on. We know passionate people. And to be successful, we have to be passionate about what we're doing and wake up in the morning and say, wow, I'm so excited that I have the opportunity to go do what I love. We also need to hire passionate people. I'm very fortunate. A year ago, we hired an intern, Janelle, and at the end of her internship, we brought her on full staff because she was passionate about our product, just as passionate as the three of us partners, in promoting it and wanting to learn more about it and just wanting to talk and spread the message of what we're trying to achieve. And that's something that's powerful. There's nothing better than somebody that's passionate about what you're doing and takes pride in that as well. The other thing you have to do, or at least realize, and this is hard for me, it's very hard for me to admit, but everything can be improved. And I'm always picking at things, and there's things I would like to do. For example, for this event, there's always things that can be done to make it better. A lot of times we get defensive or emotional, and we don't want to take that feedback that things can be improved. So the easiest thing to do is just accept that nothing's perfect, and that everything can be improved, and run with it that way. So what I would do, say I was hiring people today, I would actually ask them, what's 3 things that you think that we could do here to improve our company? What do you think we could do to make it better? And we have to self-analyze too. So I look at myself, and what can I do to become a more effective speaker? What can I do to become a more effective business leader? And so on. We have to do these evaluations, take a step back and not get defensive or emotional when someone's trying to give us feedback on how to improve things, because everything can be improved. And the only thing that's going to hold us back is that closed-mindedness. So I've talked to a lot of businesses, and they'll say, well, Mr. Neal, we've been doing this for 15 years, and it's worked for us so far. How many people out there have heard businesses say that? And it's true. It works so far. Well, how long is it really going to work? Before that grows stagnant, people lose interest, and it just falls away. ProArts had talked earlier about how they shot a video introducing the company, and then they're doing a new video to kind of showcase and make it vibrant again. We got to constantly be evolving and modifying the way that we're doing things. So it's worked for 15 years model, especially in this society, with the millennial generation, my generation that likes things different, things can be improved. And we need to work on that. Yep, there we go. The next one is don't focus on the can'ts. How many of us out there in the audience have said can't at least once this week? I'm sure there's more than a few. Don't be bashful. It is safe here. A lot of us say can't, and we can't do this or we can't do that. And that's a problem because you can. It just sometimes takes a little more communication. So I want to give you a little story. Over in Iraq, there was fields that was given to farmers to harvest crops on. And they put all the money they had, everything that they had, into putting crops onto the fields so that they could harvest, feed their families, their community. And somewhere and around the war, something happened where the property switched hands. And now they found oil on the property, and oil drillers said, well, you can't harvest these crops. We need to drill for oil here. Farmers say, well, no, you can't drill for oil. We have our crops here. This is everything that we own is in these crops. So after long conversations of, well, you can't drill and, well, you can't harvest, they come to realize that the plans for the drilling to start wasn't for another 5 months, and harvest was in 3 months. So we could harvest, and we could still drill for oil. These things worked out. We just need to communicate through it. And sometimes it might not be 100%. There might be a little level of compromise in there. But that's okay because to some effect, we can. And focusing on the can'ts and the negativity is number one thing that'll hold a business back from truly innovating. Another thing you have to do is embrace risk, and this is a hard one. A lot of us think that we embrace risk, but we're still nervous and anxious about it. You know, what's the outcome going to be? Is there going to be, a large pouring of people that are going to be coming out? Or, what kind of risks are we taking and what are we doing? And to be an entrepreneur, you have to embrace the risk and move forward and do it. Now, I'm not saying that you just, run full steam ahead and bet all of your money and do that. No, you have to make calculated risks, but still risks. And what you have to be able to do with those risks is acknowledge that sometimes you're going to fail. A lot of times you're going to have times that you fail, and you have to embrace that risk. I have some interesting information here, if I can find the page. And this is kind of just about pushing through. It took 10,000 times for Thomas Edison to finally get the light bulb correct. He knew he wanted a light bulb. He knew that he could get it to work. He embraced the risk. He executed. And then he took the next steps that he needed to take to refine it once again, go forward once again. It still wouldn't work. I need to make more changes. And embrace the risk to keep moving forward, but at the same time maintaining a positive attitude. It also took 1,009 times for Colonel Sanders, who likes KFC. I like KFC. To sell his recipe. It took him that many times to try to sell it. It's really good chicken. You would have thought it would have sold quicker. So you have these failures and you have this risk and you have these things that you have to push forward to try to get past, and we just need to embrace it, calculate it, but still just accept it. This one here has been the mindset of a lot of communities for a long period of time, not to share with others. Don't share your failures with others. Don't share your secrets with others. Don't share, just do your company thing and everything's great. And that's the persona we put out there. We need to change the mindset of this rule and make it share with others. Because we don't all compete with one another. Granted, there might be some overlap between some of our businesses and some of the things we do, because some of us are in marketing and technology. But here's the thing. If we share our failures with one another and share our experiences of things that we've gone through, we're not giving the Colonel's secret recipe away, and we're not giving away our secret Coke formula, but what we are giving is life experiences that we've learned and what we've had and shared, like what we're trying to do here through the Scotland Summit, and collaborate on that. That way we can all learn from it. If I make a mistake, I learn from it. If I make a mistake and share it with all of you, you've now learned from that as well. So we can all grow much quicker in that fashion if we just share with others and share our experiences and build up that community. It's so important. The sixth rule of the entrepreneurial spirit is the ability to execute. How many people out there, you're sitting around and someone will come up to you and say, hey, I have this great idea for a business, or I have this great idea for an invention. You get that all the time. you can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't, 1, have a positive attitude and are passionate, and 3, you don't embrace risk, then you can't do this vital step, which is execute. You can have the best idea in the world. If you don't execute, it's nothing. You have to execute and put your product out there, or your service, or your idea, or whatever it may be, or else you'll never know. You have to ask. You have to at least try. Now look at the Wright brothers. They tried, they executed, they failed. It didn't work right away. They went back, they evaluated, everything can be improved. They executed again, tried it again. And the cycle keeps continuing and keeps continuing, and we need to take the same mindset if we're going to truly innovate and do this. I have a bonus tip. I've given you 6 rules, so it's only fair if I give you a free tip. So the seats here were free, you're getting a free tip. What more can you ask? It's a great event. Is everybody having fun out there? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Here's the bonus tip. And I'm probably not going to make friends with this one, but it's so true. Never think outside the box. Think of it this way. Everybody's always saying to think outside of the box. But if this is the box and I'm outside of it, and let's say I have my good friend Joe up here, Joe's in the box, how am I going to help Joe? Joe's trapped in the box. So what you have to do is you have to think on the edge of the box. That way we're out here innovating on this side, we're in here, we're pulling Joe, and we're helping him come to the other side too. We're not barricading ourselves from the people that we're trying to help. We can't elevate ourselves and expect to also be able to elevate others. We need to be able to bridge those gaps. And what's interesting is the very first time I ever heard this was when I interviewed with James Salfair 5 years ago, and he gave me this quote. And I love it, and I've used it in almost every presentation I've given over the last couple of years, just because it's so worthwhile, and we don't think of it that way. When you're in the box, you're separated from everybody. When you're out of the box, you're still separated. So what we have to do is we need to merge that, and we need to work as a team, as a community, in a collaboration effort, like what we're trying to do here at the Scotland Summit, to bring all of those ideas, collaboration, information together, because we all have skills, we all have talents, we all have successes, and we all have failures that we can share with one another to reach one uniform goal. And if we don't do those things, we're just a couple guys and gals sitting on a hilltop